Jennifer Center, thank you so much for being with us today.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, you guys were, I believe, did you ever come to the coffee truck before we had the coffee shop?
No, I didn't. So
Okay.
actually, it was my daughter who introduced me to you. She had gone with a mentor of hers, and she came back and talked about how good the coffee was. And
Okay.
so then we came, and we've hardly left.
Yeah, you guys are some of the first Saturday regulars that I remember coming almost
Yeah.
every Saturday as a family, which is always cool to see.
Yeah.
And just enjoying your Saturday morning. So thank you for that. We greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having such great coffee.
Absolutely. So I want to talk to you about your calling in life, which I know is teaching and probably some other things too. But I don't know much about you other than I know your husband.
Yes.
I know he's a lawyer, and I know you teach at Donahoe. So where did you grow up at?
So I was born in Austin, Texas. I know I don't sound like it, but I was born in Austin, and I lived there until I was 8. And when I was 8, my parents divorced, and so I moved with my mom to Hilton Head, South Carolina. So that's where her parents lived. And so I spent my high school years and middle school years living with my mom and her parents on Hilton Head. And so, I mean, I usually say that I grew up on Hilton Head because that's what I remember the most.
Yeah.
And it was a great place to grow up.
It's a really cool place.
Yes.
I've been there a couple of times.
Yes, it was definitely very cool. I didn't take advantage of it
Yeah.
when I was there, because when you live there, you just always think the beach is going to be there.
Yeah.
And then I moved away and I was like, oh, I don't have the beach with me always.
Yeah.
But it was a really wonderful place to grow up.
Awesome. Yeah, there's alligators there.
There are lots of
Everywhere.
alligators.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really not that afraid of alligators. I think because I grew up they were there,
Yeah.
We knew that if you had a small dog, you wanted to be very careful, but otherwise we weren't that scared.
First time we went, I think I had Sayla was a
Yes,
toddler.
or a small child, yes.
And there were literally alligators in the grass
Yes.
right at the hotel we stayed at.
Yes.
So I was watching her.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
But yeah, Hilton Head's a cool place. So growing up, did you have any aspirations of what you wanted to do as a grown-up for career or anything
That's
like
a
that?
really good question. So I did, but it wasn't teaching. I had always been good at school. That was something that just came very naturally to me. And my parents thought that because I was good at school, I should go to medical school and be a doctor. And not only my parents, but everybody in my family just sort of assumed that's what was going to happen. And so I assumed that's what was going to happen. So when I went to undergraduate, I was pre-med, and I was very certain that I was going to go to medical school.
Oh, wow.
And I declared a chemistry major my sophomore year, and I had a pre-med advisor and everything. So like I was on that track. I was going there. And my pre-med advisor was very wise and said, I don't think you want to be a doctor. And if you're going to be a doctor, you have to want to do it because it's a really hard road, and it is a calling, and it's something that you have to want to do. And so I thought very hard about that, and I realized, no, I didn't want to be a doctor. I really loved chemistry. I was really glad I had chosen that as my major. And so I said, okay, I don't want to be a doctor, but I think I like the idea of chemistry and of teaching. So I said, I think maybe I'll be a college professor in chemistry. So for 2 summers, I did chemistry research. One was inorganic chemistry, one was organic chemistry, one at Wake Forest, where I went, and then one at MUSC in Charleston. So nice places to spend the summer.
Yeah. And
I realized that while chemistry research is a wonderful thing, it is not for me. It's harder than I thought it was going to be. Not the actual work, just the environment was not what I was set up for. And so by the end of my junior year, or the end of the summer after my junior year, I realized I don't think I want to do research. And if you're a professor, that's one of the main things that you do. You teach, but you also do a lot of research.
Sure.
And so I was kind of trying to figure out, well, what do I want to do? And so I finally realized, well, what I've been excited about with this path is the teaching. It's the explaining things to people and helping them understand things that are hard to understand. And that is what I loved doing. And so then I was like, well, I could teach high school and just do the teaching part where I get to just work with students and help them understand things. And so it was my senior year of college that I decided that I was going to be a high school teacher. And I hadn't taken a single education class, anything like that. So I graduated with my degree in chemistry, and then I went straight into a master's program in education. So then I was able to get some of the education classes and do student teaching and stuff like that before I started full-time teaching.
Awesome. Growing up, did you always enjoy the science and chemistry stuff?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I loved science.
Which goes a lot with medical. So that
it does.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Yeah. I liked so many things, though. When I was pre-med, and you could sort of major in anything and be pre-med, I thought I might major in English because I love literature, and I thought I might major in music because I play the piano, and all sorts of things. But I'm really glad I went the chemistry route because it really is fun.
So you do music too?
I do.
Awesome. We're musicians, me and my wife. So
that's awesome.
She's a classically trained piano player. I'm not. I'm a rock drummer.
That's awesome. Yes, I play piano. I mean, not, I took lessons through college, but now I just play for fun.
Awesome. So your senior year of college, you decided to change career paths pretty much.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Was there anything leading up to that you look back on growing up that maybe you saw in the past, like, okay, this does make more sense for what I feel like I'm supposed to do?
Yes. I mean, I loved helping. I was always the one that people went to help them, to explain stuff to them, when they were like, okay, I don't get this. Jennifer, how do I do this? And I really enjoyed helping people figure stuff out,
Yeah.
I remember in high school and in college, there were several people that they were like, hey, will you sit down with me and help me understand whatever we're doing, and it seemed like I was able to help them understand it in a, like, where they really did, leave and were like, okay, I get this now. And even when I was doing research, so I was working in an organic chemistry lab. I was making a compound. But we were doing it for a bigger lab that did pharmacology. So we were working with a drug that treated malaria. And they had these big lab meetings every week. And one of the meetings, the guy I was working with asked me to present, like, what we had done in the last week. And it was very nice because when I was done, several of the people in the pharmacology lab came up to me and said, that's the best I've understood what is happening in this lab.
Yeah.
And so, it was the sense of, okay, I can take things and help people understand them.
Mm-hmm. Which is like, that's a special calling. So usually, like I told you earlier before we started this, I'm a drummer. I tried to teach drums one time. It did not go well. I can play drums, pretty good at it. Did that professionally for a while. But trying to teach somebody to do that is a totally different thing. So that's really cool that you realized that early on before you got into a career you didn't quite enjoy.
Yes.
So where were you living at during that time when you graduated college?
So I went up to Wake Forest in North Carolina. And so that's where I got both my undergraduate and my graduate degrees, my master's degree. And then I came to Birmingham. And I came to Birmingham because Drew was there, my now husband. We had been dating for a while. We met at Wake Forest. And so then came down to Birmingham. I had applied like at every school system there. I ended up getting a job at Mountain Brook. And so that's where I spent my first 3 years of teaching. It was a great experience. Yeah. And I moved there. And in that time period, Drew and I got engaged and got married, and he finished law school and then looked for a job and couldn't find a job for a while. He studied for the bar, passed the bar, couldn't find a job. And then he heard of a job in this little town called Anniston, and I had never been to Anniston. My dad lives in Atlanta, and so we would drive from Birmingham to Atlanta, and I remembered the exits. I remembered exit 185 and exit 188, we would stop for gas there sometimes, but I had never like been to the area until he got offered the job. And it's really funny because I can't say there are very many things that I have really felt God saying something very specific to me, but I very clearly felt God calling us to come to this area. And I did not want to come, but I felt like it was like, no, you need to come here. Yeah. And I'm so glad. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience, but I did sort of come kicking and screaming. Yeah. So yeah, then we moved here in 2007 and have been here ever since.
Nice. So did you go straight to Donahoe when you moved here? Did you teach some other places?
No, I did go straight to Donahoe. I was trying to decide between Donahoe and Oxford, and both were great, but I was really drawn to the smaller size of Donahoe and to just the ability to really get to know the students well, and I think it's been a really good fit for me.
Awesome. So what grades do you teach at Donahoe?
I teach 10th through 12th.
10th through 12th. So young teenagers becoming adults and everything that goes along with that. Exactly.
And that's one of the things that I love the most about it is really not just teaching them chemistry or physics, but also helping them grow up into the people they're going to be. It's a special time, and it's a really neat opportunity to be there with them in that.
They are. They're so young kids, young adults are so pliable at that age, and they really need guidance from teachers that care. Have you always taught those grades, or have you taught other grades as well?
So there was one year that I was asked to teach 8th grade, and not all day, but I did teach an 8th grade class, and I learned that middle school teachers are a very special group of people with a very special talent that I do not have. Middle school is such a hard time, and it really takes a special gift to guide kids through that transition. Yeah. And I am much more appreciative of middle school teachers now, but I'm glad that now I get to teach the ones transitioning to college.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm my daughter's 10 now, and we do homeschool. My wife does most of that, or almost all of it. But I found in teaching her, her personality is a lot like mine. My son's personality is a lot like my wife's, thank goodness, because I don't know if I could handle a boy like me. But she learns like I do. So some days I'll come home and there's a certain math problem or multiplication, for instance, she just can't figure it out. And I am not very book smart, not educated very much at all. But I can explain to her the way that her mind comprehends it. How do you handle that with a whole classroom full of kids where a lot of them are learning in different ways and understand things differently?
It's definitely a challenge, and I do feel like the longer I teach, the more I can do that almost without even having to think about it very hard, because I think less about teaching material and more about teaching my students. Like, the goal is for them to learn, not for me to present the material. So I'm always scanning faces to get a sense of, do you look confused? Are you not paying attention? Okay, they're with me because I can see it in their eyes. So a lot of times I can see in a student's face whether they're getting it or not. And sometimes, depending on the student, because some students do not like to be called out in class at all. And so I won't. Like, I'll go to them after class and be like, hey, you looked like you had a question about that. Can I help you with it? Some kids don't mind at all. So I'll be like, Johnny, did you get that? And they're like, no, I don't. And then they'll ask a question about it, So that's really important. I do try to present it several different ways. One nice thing about science is that we can do labs. So we have a lot of hands-on learning. So, I'm really able to get to the visual learners, the auditory learners, the kinesthetic learners. I'm able to really help all of them experience what we're trying to do, which I think is really helpful.
Absolutely. I think that's why my favorite class was science, because you get to do some hands-on stuff, or at least look at pictures of cool stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Actually, I think I was in probably 7th or 8th grade, and I got the National Honor Society. My parents thought it was a joke because they were like, I was like, no, it's real. It's for science. I was like,
awesome.
okay.
That's awesome.
I had a really good science teacher. Miss Bain was her name.
Aw,
she was really good.
Great.
She was really good at helping me understand things, and even though I thought differently than other kids.
Yes.
So
I hope she sees this, because I mean, for every teacher, anyone who ever, takes a moment to say how much their teaching means, just if that's the world to a teacher.
I think it's really cool what you said, that the goal is you focus on the kids learning, not how you're teaching skills, which is really cool, because that's the fruit of it, right?
Yes.
You're measured by your fruit. So how the kids learn, that's really cool. You're so sweet and nice. How do you? I can't see you be. Well, I can't see the disciplines.
That is funny. Yeah. So, and a lot of my students will say that I'm very nice and I'm always smiling and stuff. I don't get upset often. The students who know will know when I say that I get smiley mad. So when I get mad, I will smile and I will be mad. And some of them have said that it's a little scary when I get that way. But most of the time, really, I find that kids want, even if they don't know they want it, or what they need is to know what's coming, to know what the expectations are for them, and to know that someone is going to be there consistently in the same way. And I really try to give that to my students. They know what to expect. They know how I expect myself to behave and how I expect them to behave. And it's not perfect, but I really do feel like, especially after the first couple weeks of class, when we all kind of are getting to know each other, I really don't have a lot of discipline issues, because I just know that they can behave themselves. And so that's just how we're going to do things, is we're going to behave ourselves. And, I mean, my kids are great. They really are. Yeah. They're such good kids, and they're so much fun. And, I mean, there are times that we have to talk about how, here's the line and we're right here and we need to make sure that we don't cross the line. But really, I think just the culture of consistency and knowing what to expect is so, so important. And, I'm not one who's going to do the dog and pony show every day, but I'm going to be there, and the kids know that I'm going to, with everything in my power, have a good attitude, and that I'm going to care about them, and that I want them to succeed. That is my goal, is for them to succeed. They have to put in effort too,
For sure.
Like we have to sort of meet in the middle, but I want them to do well. And I think when a student sees that someone cares and wants them to do well, they want to do well too. And so that sort of makes them want to behave a certain way as well.
Expectations are huge. Like setting expectations, I've learned in business, even with employees, some stuff that I thought would be just obvious to people just to do. It's not obvious to everybody, because everybody's different. So I've really had to learn, even in business, how to set expectations. And at home too, with raising the kids.
Yes.
With my wife, listening to her expectations when she hints at them.
Yeah.
Expectations it's kind of a new thing to me in the past 4 years, I guess.
Yes.
But I'm really leaning into that a lot. And you can ask my employees. We're clear about our expectations now, and we enforce them.
Yeah.
But it really cuts out a lot of the issues.
It does, exactly.
Like you said, that's probably why you don't have much discipline problems in your classes, because expectations are set.
Yeah.
So it's been the key for me in growing as a leader.
Yes. And, I'm not perfect at it, and I'm probably better at school than I am at home, but, yeah, I mean, people can't read each other. We can't read each other's minds, And so I think it's just really good to say, okay, this is what I need from you. And most of the time when I say that to my students, they're like, okay, we get there.
Yeah. So you do get to do a lot of hands-on stuff in science, of course. Is that the best part?
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen some video clips that Donna has put out of, and you were in them doing.
Yes. So yeah, I also do every year a Mad Scientist show for the second graders, and that's so fun too. Elementary school, like, bless all the elementary school teachers out there, because that is, once again, not my gift. Yeah. But it is so fun to get to, interact with the second graders once a year, and they're just so excited about everything that you do, But the big kids are too. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. I think sometimes teenagers get a bad rap for being, kind of standoffish or like too cool to be excited about stuff. Mm-hmm. And like, they're really not. Like, they get just as excited about it too. And if you make it okay to be excited about it, then most of the time they'll get excited, So it's just really fun to work with the older kids and see them get excited about doing something. And then, because they're old enough to understand, be able to explain why it's happening, to say, okay, well, we saw this cool thing happen. Now let me tell you the science behind why it's happening.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. I would have loved more hands-on stuff, which now school's different than it was when I went to school growing up. You mentioned Oxford earlier. I've been able to go to Oxford some to help with entrepreneur classes, and they have some incredible stuff going on at the school there.
They absolutely do.
I think I would have thrived as a student if all of the stuff we have now would have been available then.
Yeah.
Part of that is technology. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on screen? Let's call it screen time. We're in my household, it's almost a daily battle of limiting screen time.
Yes.
A lot of days without screen time.
Yes.
And it's really just, I don't think it's anything for my kids other than just a way to kind of relax for a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm against that too a little bit.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, I definitely think technology has a place because of, the way that the world is going, and we are trying to prepare students for college and jobs and things like that. And they're going to need to know how to use technology wisely, But I think that I don't ever, and I don't think my colleagues do either, use technology for the sake of doing technology.
Yeah.
If it supports the other things that we're doing, then that's great. So, there actually are a lot of really good virtual labs. There are several sites that have really good virtual labs, which are nice when they use equipment that I can't afford. Yep. So especially for AP chemistry, because there are certain labs you have to do, and a lot of that involves equipment where one piece of equipment costs thousands of dollars, and we just don't have that kind of money. Mm-hmm. They can do a virtual lab where it's videos of someone using that actual equipment, and then they're able to watch that and manipulate it and answer questions about it. And so I think that's really good. Yeah. I still have my students take all their notes on pencil and paper. They have a physical binder, and I've done that since I started teaching. And so I'm very big on organization. So I tell my students how I want them to organize the binder. Every time they get a handout, I tell them where to put it in their binder. But that way, when they're finished with a class, they have a resource that's organized and ready to go if they take any of those classes in college. Yep. And I've had so many students come back and say that their, chemistry binders especially have been so, so helpful to them in college, which is really neat to hear. Yeah. And, every once in a while I think, well, should I still do a physical binder? And then I think, no, I should, because it's important, I think, to have those physical things sometimes. And the act of writing things down helps you remember it better.
It does.
And so I am so big on you write your notes and, then you're going to have it and you've written it and better what we did. So I do that. And of course, I do think that using real materials when possible is better than doing something virtually. Like I said, when I can't, I like the virtual labs. But if I can, I'd much rather my students actually do something with their hands, put something together, watch it, spark, watch it do whatever with their own eyes rather than on a screen.
Yeah.
I think that technology is very addictive for all of us,
Absolutely.
myself included,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. And I think that it is especially difficult for our teenagers who don't yet have fully developed frontal lobes, as I tell them sometimes. It's so tempting. It's just all so tempting to go down the rabbit hole of TikTok or, 400 Snapchat streaks or whatever. I don't really know much about that because I don't have TikTok or Snapchat. But it's a hard balance, and I think, I should probably do a better job of this, but I want to model good technology use. I think all credibility goes out the window if you're like, well, you shouldn't be on your screen, but here I am,
Yeah.
But also to remind my students and myself of how good and beautiful it is to be in the real world and to talk to real people and to go outside and feel the real sun on your face and the real grass beneath your feet and all that sort of stuff. So
I've seen that kind of with the AI thing. Everybody started to use it for advertisements and business. Now all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, I want to see real people talking.
Yes.
Which we've kind of embraced it at Called Coffee,
Yes.
just trying to do. We haven't sworn against it completely, but
Right.
Just I think real quickly everybody realized, oh yeah, we don't want that to become our society as a whole.
Exactly.
We want interaction with people. Have you seen attention problems or discipline problems, like as technology has gotten more popular, because you started in...
I think it's harder for people to pay attention. Yeah, I do. I think in some ways it's harder for me to pay attention.
Yeah,
like I'm the pot calling the kettle black, but yeah, it's hard because it just, like, you're constantly getting a notification. They're constantly, I see it in my classroom, and I don't, especially with my older students, like, if you're about to be in college, I think you need to be able to figure out how to have a phone next to you and do something else, because their professors aren't going to take their phones from them in college, So it is definitely, a balance where I'll see them pick up their phones and look at them. And sometimes I will say, okay, everybody, we need to put our phones away, because we need to focus. But I think that each one of us, myself, my students, everybody has to learn how to balance it and discipline yourself for it. Because ultimately, someone else can't do it for you. You have to figure out that there are other things that are more important. But I would say in the last 5 to 10 years, I've definitely seen I've seen that pull that phones especially have for my students.
Absolutely. So you mentioned discipline and organization and all the things that of my adult life, I've been struggling to catch up on what I should have implemented earlier in life. I really struggled with self-discipline as far as those types, keeping things organized and clean and ready to go. And it's kind of come in waves, I guess, throughout my life. I'd be really good at it for a while, then not good at it. Business, you don't have a choice but to be good at it and keep everything organized and know your numbers and all that. I'm going to ask you for some parenting tips on that.
Okay.
To help kids stay organized.
Yes.
And, as well as I do, like, you're never going to have a spotless house with kids, with a couple of kids around. But do you have any tips on the parenting side of it?
Yeah, I do. I mean, if my daughter watches this, she's going to laugh because she'll be like,
Yeah.
okay, Mom. I'm really big on, as much as possible, before you get something else out, put everything away from the thing you were doing. I'm just laughing internally because Noelle is going to see this and be like, I know.
Yeah.
But I think that, if you're drawing and then now you're going to move to doing homework, if you can put away, the colored pencils and the sketchbook and whatever, and then get out your homework, then your desk isn't a mountain of things by the time you're done, because you finished with the one thing and then you picked up something else to do it. So that's something that, and I try to do that as well. And I mean, I am definitely a naturally organized person. Like, that just is something that comes naturally to me. But that's something that I've always done. I do try to, a couple times a day, sort of go through and like spot things that aren't where they're supposed to be in my house and kind of get them where they're supposed to be.
Yep.
Just a little tidy for 5 minutes or so, a couple times a day. I try to only have a couple places where I put piles of stuff, the papers and all that sort of stuff. And then I like to, every week or two, kind of go through and be like, okay, well, do I need this anymore? And, where does this go? And stuff like that. So, so those are some things that I try to do. And I do think it is important to involve kids in that as well. I've always tried to ask Noelle to help me when she was younger, and now that she's older, to sort of be like, okay, will you put this away? Before I left today, there was something I was like, will you put this away before I come back? So I just think doing it on a regular basis before it gets too big, because if it gets big, it feels overwhelming for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think with kids' rooms too, that's a big thing. Is
or adults.
Yeah, well, yes, for sure. But I think if you tell a child, go clean your room, they don't really know what you mean by that. It's
Okay.
like, what does that mean? So I do try to be specific about, what needs to happen. And this is for my students and for my daughter, just, the more, again, making those expectations very clear. This is what it means to clean your room. So I'm not just sending you up there to, like, flounder around and not know what you're doing.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, especially with younger kids.
Exactly. Yeah. And then if you teach them that when they're younger, then when they get older, they start doing some of those things a little bit automatically, even without them wanting to. It's just sort of ingrained, and that's what they do.
Yeah. It is amazing how organization follows success a lot of the times. Not all the time.
Not all the time. Yeah.
I know some lawyers, no offense to your husband, but that are not very organized, but that's why they have secretaries.
Yes.
I don't know why lawyers popped in my head, but
no,
I know some lawyers.
I get it. Man, when we first moved him into his office, it was so neat.
Yeah.
And now, less that way.
Well, they're busy.
It's all right.
But it does a lot of times. Organization follows success. Cleanliness follows success. Not all the times, but a lot of times. And it's just good skills to learn, especially as you go into college.
Yes. Yeah. Because no one's going to be there to clean up your stuff, And one more thing is just having less stuff, I think, helps too. I think it's, sometimes I think we think, well, I need to get more things to put my stuff in. But sometimes you just don't need all the stuff you have, know? And I think kids, too, can get really overwhelmed if they have a lot of toys and, they're just like, I don't even know what I have, And, I mean, I like it, but I can't even figure out what I want to play with because it feels really overwhelming. And I actually think sometimes less can be more.
For sure.
How
much, back to teaching now, how much of a role does empathy play in dealing with students?
Huge. I think it is so important to realize that it's hard to grow up. And, I mean, all of us who are adults have done it. And we've all had so many moments when we were growing up that just felt so hard. And we made it through them. And so sometimes I think it can be tempting as an adult to be like, well, this isn't that big of a deal. You'll make it through. In 5 years, this won't matter at all. And that's all true. But in the moment, it matters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to remember that and to meet kids where they are. Because, I said students like structure, they like to know what expectations are. They also want to know that someone cares about them and that someone is present with them in this moment, in what they're going through. I think it's so big because especially when kids get to the age where I'm teaching them, between school and extracurricular activities and all the other things they have going on, a lot of them don't spend a lot of time at home. And I know they have parents that love them dearly, but some days my students probably see, me and their other teachers more than they see their parents because of everything else they have going on.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important for them to know that there are adults who are in their corner and who are trying to understand what they have going on.
For sure. I heard a quote a while back that helped me with my kids. They get, I would call it dramatic sometimes, but I don't remember. It was a podcast I was listening to. They said the hardest thing you've ever been through is the hardest thing you've ever been through.
Mm-hmm. That's
so
true.
Like when
That's
you're a
very
6-year-old kid,
yes,
and you fall out of the swing and bust your head open, and like it's not that big, it's just a scrape. But
right.
To my son, that was the worst thing that's ever happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped me a lot, kind of.
Absolutely. That's good. I want to remember that.
It's helped me empathize with my kids and employees and everything else.
Yes.
So what would you say to someone who's high schooler or college age that's considering the teaching profession?
I would say that it's not easy, and do not do it for the money. I would definitely say that because...
Or a coffee shop.
yes, exactly. But if you feel called to it, it is so rewarding. I feel so fortunate that I get to see the difference that I'm making. Not everybody gets that opportunity, but I get to pour into the lives of actual almost adults, and then I get to watch them go become adults and know that hopefully I had some part in helping them become the adults they are. And that is so, so rewarding. It's rewarding to prepare them with organization, with content, but it's even more rewarding for me to prepare them for being an adult, for, I teach personal finance. So like how to, deal with the credit card offers that you're going to get and, how to budget and keep track of what you spend so that you don't spend more than you make. But also just how to do the thing that has to be done when it has to be done, whether you want to do it or not. That's one of my favorite quotes to say. Yeah. I'm always telling my kids, you don't have to want to do it, but you just have to do it. Mm-hmm. And those are things that they need to learn. And to know that I had some part of that, and that maybe I was an adult that helped them know that they're loved and that people care about them, so that when they go off on their own, they feel like they're still supported. So it's very rewarding. It's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine not. What's you don't have to give a name or
Yeah.
anything, but what's a student situation that you've been super proud of over the last couple of years? One that stands out to you?
I had a student who, well, I mean, I have so many that I'm really, really proud of, but I think I've had a couple of situations where students have been going through some really tough times emotionally, and I didn't know that they were at the time, but I was just showing up and doing what I did. And years later, they told me that I had really been a big influence in their like getting healthy again and really finding joy again. And that was so meaningful for me because again, I didn't know that I was doing it. And it really reminds me that you never know the impact that you're having. Like you never know what one conversation can mean to someone else, or one kind word. Like you just don't know. And so that helps me try to continue to just be somebody who cares and who is kind and who listens and who wants to know what's going on with people, and wants to be with people and whatever they're going through, because you don't know. And I think that's been one of the biggest lessons I've learned from teaching is you just don't know what people are going through as they walk throughout their days. And you hear stories like that, but like it's really true. And I think it's especially true with teenagers because teenagers do not want anyone to know that anything's going on. But, everybody's got stuff going on. Sure. Everybody does. And so I think just that kindness just on a daily basis, it really a lot of times isn't one big moment. It's just being there day after day. And just to realize that can have a big impact that makes me really happy.
Yeah, of course. Very rewarding, I imagine. Mm-hmm. That is not every job you get to see the impact you're making. That is really cool. Never thought about it that way with teaching, but it's really awesome. What do you like to do for fun? I know you guys travel a lot.
We do, yes. I love to travel, love to see new places, especially like in nature. I'm not a camper. Glamping is about what I like to do, but I do love to go. We love to visit national parks. We love to, just see what there is. And Drew's a photographer, and so I count myself.
Talented photographer.
Thank you. I think so too. But I love that I get to tag along. When he goes around and takes pictures, and so I get to be there for all of the beauty that he sees. I love to walk and run. Whenever I go someplace, I just love to just walk it. I love to see what there is to see. Mm-hmm. I like to play the piano. That's, I do love music. I love to read. I read all the time. Love it so much. It's so fun. And I like to do puzzles. Drew and I like to do puzzles together. I love escape rooms. Okay. It's like my favorite thing in the whole world to do. I love them so much. So yeah, anything sort of puzzle related, I love.
Have you done any like the puzzle boxes and the game things like that?
I think I've done one, which was also really fun.
Yeah, those are.
Yeah, I need to get some more of those because that's probably a little bit less expensive than an escape room. But
those are challenging.
Yes,
some of them are wild.
Yeah. So and then I have always loved reading things out loud. Like when Noelle was growing up, I read all sorts of things to her. I read all the Harry Potter books, all the Lord of the Rings books, all that. And I've always wanted to do something with it. And the last year, 2 years, I've been able to sort of start doing some stuff with voiceover and voice acting, and so that's been super fun. I really enjoy that a lot.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff have you done with that?
So I've done. I have recorded an audiobook. It is a short audiobook, but it is on Audible. So like I'm official now. It's a upper elementary grade book that was really sweet and fun to do.
Yeah.
I think I had 13 different character voices to
Oh,
do
wow.
for that. So that was fun.
What book was that?
It's called The Princess and Her Throne.
Okay.
So yeah, a college friend of mine actually is now an author, and he wrote it, and so
Awesome.
I was able to record it. So that was really fun. And then I'm starting to do some voiceover for documentary stuff as well. So yeah,
It's really cool.
yeah, I'm really excited. So hopefully I can continue with that, because that definitely is one of those things that like I just lose track of time when I'm doing it. I just enjoy it so much.
Well, I think it's really cool from an outside perspective. It seems like you and your husband work really hard to spend time with your daughter, whether that's at the coffee shop or I see you around town or traveling. So I think that's really cool. I think as society, we need more of that. I don't see you guys on your phone much when you're with her.
Oh,
I
thank
notice
you.
stuff
That's
like
so
that.
nice.
Y'all are just hanging out as a family, which is we can all learn from that. So I think that's really cool.
Thank you.
And just y'all seem to have a really cool family dynamic.
Thank you so much. It's fun. I really do. I love our family so much. I came from I'm a child of divorce, and my mom was married 3 times. My dad has been married 4 times. And when I was in high school, I went to a Bible study, and we learned about like essentially it was something about like making a cathedral of your marriage. And I just remember thinking, I want to break the cycle of divorce in my family. I'm really like, so my marriage and my family is very, very, very important to me. And it's been really wonderful to continue to grow with Drew and to continue to get closer to each other. And I mean, we love Noelle so much and are just so proud of who she is. And yeah, we love spending time together, and that's really fun. And it's just so nice that that you notice. That's just
you can tell she's well loved.
Aw.
She loves you guys. That's obvious. What have you thought about? Do you have any aspirations of writing yourself or teaching teachers or anything like that?
That's a good question. I think what I would love to do is, like, if I didn't, I've thought about writing. I have thought about, like, I would love maybe to do something to sort of help maybe newer teachers with organization, things like that, because I really don't take that much work home. And it's because I've kind of set up a lot of systems that help me, get done what I need to get done at school. And I also don't grade essays, which helps, I don't have as much writing to grade, but I would like to do something like that. And I also have thought that I really would someday love to do more with the personal finance aspect of things as well. That's something that really I'm very passionate about. I was the one who really suggested and encouraged Art Donahoe to have a personal finance program, because I was like, I really think that our students, have things that it would be really good for them to know before they left. So I would love to be able to coach or have a book or a course or something like that for people just starting out, whether it's high school graduates, college graduates, things like that, for like, this is what would be good for you to know about money as you're becoming an adult, because there are things you're expected to know and you might not know those things. And so I'd like to help you learn those. So that's kind of something that has been a dream of mine.
That's much needed for sure. Yeah. That's much needed. The more I think about some of the young people I know, they could really use that. And you don't learn much of that in school.
That's the thing, is a lot of young people just haven't been exposed to it. And so it's sort of unfair to expect them to make all these wise financial decisions when they haven't had the teaching and the knowledge to make the wise financial decisions.
You go straight into student loans and, you don't know anything about it.
Exactly.
Some education there would be great. How long do you think you'll be teaching? Think till you retire? You think you?
I don't know. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, I don't really want to say because I don't know when I'll, be ready to move on.
I'm the same way.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think the hardest thing is the lack of time flexibility. That is the thing that is the very hardest, because even when it comes to like a dentist appointment or anything, I don't want to do it during the school day because I don't want to take away from that instructional time with my students. And so it's just really hard. And I know I have summers off, and that helps, but you can't do 2 dentist appointments a year in the summer. You know what I mean? Like you still have to have
There's
stuff.
always stuff
Exactly. There's always stuff to do. So that is the thing that's the hardest. If and when I leave, it will be because of that. It's not because I don't love being with my students, because I love it. Like I look forward to being with them every day. And I definitely feel very fortunate that I have a job where I get to be like, oh, I get to see them today. So.
Yeah, I'm sure is it like that every day, most days?
It really is most days, yes. I mean, I have, I definitely have the occasional day that, I don't, it's not because of them. I just would rather, be doing something else. Yes, I'd rather be reading in Called Coffee, but, but I really, like, whenever I start teaching, I'm always glad I'm doing it. Always. I don't, there's administrative stuff. There's stuff that there are parts of every job that you don't love because they have to get done, So that's not my favorite, but like the actual teaching, the actual engaging with my students, because even when I lecture, I want to talk with them. I don't want to just talk to them. So I'm asking questions, they're answering questions and asking their own questions. And we just have a good time together. And so I enjoy that almost every day.
That's awesome. It's really encouraging to hear. We need good teachers, and there's a lot of them out there for sure. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I think
you've taught me a whole lot.
Oh, well, good.
I guess it just comes natural. I've learned a lot about teaching, and it's really good to hear how passionate you are about it and how much you care about your students.
Well, thank you.
I think we just need more of that in the world. And I know you're inspiring other teachers, and some of your students are going to become teachers, and that's really
That
cool.
would be wonderful. Yeah. That would be great. It's been really fun. I've been teaching long enough now that some of my students are professionals and have been professionals for a while, and so it really is crazy to be like, oh, look, there's, this pediatrician was in my classroom, 12 years ago.
We've had someone work at the coffee shop, I think, that you've worked with. So. Engineer now, Adam is.
Yes, that's right. Cool. That's right. I know. So it's really, it's neat. It's really neat.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me, Jared. This has been great.
Thank you.